Hello and welcome to Health Options with me, Rabi Abdullah. Health Options is the program that not only tracks government policies on health, but helps you with the information you need to make the right choices about your health. Sugar has a bittersweet reputation when it comes to health. Sugar occurs naturally in all foods that contain carbohydrates, also in fruits and vegetables, grains and dairy. Consuming whole foods that contain natural sugar is considered okay. Join us on our Nature Scanner as we shall educate you on sources of healthy sugar, as well as the link between added sugar, that is, sugar that food manufacturers add to products in order to increase flavor or extend shelf life, and some of the health challenges they could lead to. The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and sustained breastfeeding with appropriate complementary foods up to 2 years or beyond. Families in difficult circumstances require special attention and practical support to be able to feed their children adequately. In such cases, the likelihood of not breastfeeding increases due to the dangers of artificial feeding and inappropriate complementary feeding. It is advised that wherever possible, mothers and babies should remain together and be provided the support they need to exercise the most appropriate feeding option under the circumstances. On this episode of Health Options, we shall take a look at the topic, curbing breastfeeding difficulties in special circumstances. Difficult circumstances refer to situations faced by particularly vulnerable groups such as HIV-infected mothers and their infants, people suffering the consequences of complex emergencies, including natural and human-induced disasters such as flood, civil unrest, and of course, in the face of the pandemic of our time, talking about the coronavirus. Glad to have you join us on the program. You are watching Health Options, and our focus on this policy track segment is curbing breastfeeding difficulties in special circumstances. It's all about child survival, and with me in the studio to take us through the topic is the Director, Family Health Department, Federal Ministry of Health, Dr. Salma Anas Kolo. Welcome to Health Options, Dr. Salma.
Thank you, Rabi. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Breast milk is one of the best gifts, one of those, the best gifts that the Almighty had given mankind for the survival of the child. Let me not just preempt it. You are the expert here. So start by telling us, the importance. How important is the breast milk?
Thank you, Rabi. To add on what you have rightly said, is the best food given to the mother to give the baby. It's the safest. It's a food that is given by the Almighty in the right quantity, the right composition, in the right temperature, with adequate amount of water that will satisfy the baby for the mother to give the baby. So the gold standard that we continue to promote, and we are still promoting, is to ensure that all mothers initiate breastfeeding immediately after birth, within an hour of delivery. All babies should be initiated on the breast milk from the first 1 hour, and they should continue up to 6 months of life exclusively without adding anything, not even a drop of water. Thereafter, after 6 months, mothers are also encouraged to continue to breastfeed up to 2 years, but at 6 months they can introduce complementary feeding. But that does not mean they should stop breastfeeding, because the breast milk still continue to add value to the baby. And after 2 years, if they want, they can continue even beyond 2 years. Okay. It's very important to the baby because it's the best for optimal growth of the baby. It is best for the development of the baby. The brain development of the baby is very critical. The mental stability of the baby. So if you look at the survival of the baby, it's all encompassing. Baby gets that from the breast milk because it has all the immune boosters. I call it the immune boosters that promotes the immunity of the baby. So you found that babies that are breastfed, this has been well researched and the evidence are available to prove that they have lower rates of respiratory tract infections. They have lower rates of, they don't even have diarrheal infections because the food that they eat is not contaminated. It comes straight from the storage, and that is the breast itself, and directly goes into the mouth of the baby. So it's good for the digestive system of the babies. Babies that are breastfed also, because it contributes greatly to the brain development of the baby within the first 6 months, and this continue up to 2 years. They are found to be smarter, they are more intelligent. So these are some of the attributes of positive attributes of breastfeeding. The sucking of the breast milk, it strengthens the cheek muscles of the baby as they suck the breast milk. And you find children that are breastfed speaks clearer than children that are not breastfed. So on the other side, mothers are psychologically stable. They are mentally stable when they breastfeed their babies. They are less stressed because they don't have to run up and down trying to prepare food, trying to buy food for the baby, trying to store the food for the baby. It's readily available to them. And it improves their health. They are found to have less cases of diabetes. And then even when you look at cases of ovarian cancers and breast cancers, it is found to be less in women that breastfeed their babies. So the benefits of breastfeeding actually outweighs.
Quite numerous.
And just want to add that it enhances bonding between the mother of the baby, because that is the first interaction that the baby have. And then there's so much of abundance of interaction between the mother and the baby, and this enhances bonding.
Having to do this, difficult circumstances that could, become barriers to effective breastfeeding.
Yeah.
What are the options when such circumstances occur?
Yes, as you rightly mentioned, there are circumstances because nothing can happen 100%. There are peculiar situations. For instance, the situation we are in today of the COVID, even though we continue to advise mothers and continue to promote breastfeeding, irrespective of the status of the mother, whether she is suspected COVID or confirmed COVID positive. But most importantly is to advise mothers to observe all the preventive measures. Wash their hands with soap and water under running water, or sanitize their hands at every point they are going to take the baby for breastfeeding. They should also make sure they clean all the surfaces, including their clothes that they are wearing. And then wear the face mask, cover the mouth, cover the nose, just as I am doing today, and we do it all the time. Make sure you do that, and then carry the baby, continue to breastfeed the baby. We also advise mothers to ensure that they continue to do this non-stop, except medically indicated. And what I mean by medically indicated, a mother could go into a worse situation.
I will take you back to the COVID-19 situation.
Yeah.
What if a nursing mother, tests positive for COVID-19 and that woman has to be taken to an isolation center? Does she go with the baby?
The mother has to have support.
Okay.
We advise for support. Family support is very important. The husband should support, the family should support, and bring the baby frequently for breastfeeding. But make sure that the mother is isolated in such a way, special way, that she's not having any interactions with other people. The room is well decontaminated. She observes all the precautions. But in a situation where a mother cannot even do this, where her situation is complicated, that is why we say that there is a medical indication for other alternatives of feeding. And this has to be prescribed by a medical doctor. So in that circumstances is the scenario where we say that we can only use the breast milk substitute. With COVID, let me clarify that there is no evidence so far that has shown that the breast milk transmits the virus. So that is why we continue to promote mothers to continue to breastfeed irrespective of the circumstances. But for instance, if you look at the situation of HIV have been found also in HIV positive women. It can be transmitted through the breast milk. So in that circumstances also, medical practitioners will prescribe the need for alternate feeding for the baby, which is the use of the breast milk. The mother will also need support. She will need counseling support, how to use the breast milk substitute. Family support is also necessary on how to use the alternative breast milk. And in another serious situation, there are several circumstances, especially in a crisis situation, that can lead to where mothers can also be separated with a baby.
There are people in the IDP.
People in the IDP camps, yes. Even though in the IDP camp, we still encourage them to continue to breastfeed their babies, except where there is no close contact. There are situations where you can also advise, like the isolation center you mentioned. Women can also they can be taught to express the breast milk in a very hygienic manner, where they will be taught by health workers, and then this breast milk can also be transported. If you still look at it, the best food is still the breast milk. There is no second to it. It's the best. But in a very severe circumstances where it cannot happen, that is the only place that we have a space and opening that mothers should use breast milk substitute under supervision of health workers, with a good support, with a good counseling support. That is the only option that is available to them in that circumstances.
Okay, we equally have women who had no issues, had no challenges, that should hinder breastfeeding as recommended. They just, on their own volition, choose not to breastfeed their babies. Can you tell us the implication of such?
I think there is need for awareness creation. There is need for more action to provide knowledge, to mothers and also to husbands and also to families and to communities. Let them understand the benefits of breastfeeding. Even women that are working, we promote baby-friendly environment. Just like we have baby-friendly hospitals where breast milk substitutes are banned except medically indicated. The use of bottle feeding are also banned except medically indicated, where they have to use the cup. Creches should be made available in workplaces, and that we should also have safe places, private places, in any environment the woman finds herself, including marketplaces. Even the environment, the climate benefits from mothers when they breastfeed their babies, because it reduces the cost of production of artificial feeds, the cost of storage of artificial feed, the cost of transportation, and even the money that you used to have to use, the money that you should have used positively on the family, you have to divert it to buy cartons of baby milk.
It's all about child survival, and we know how much immunity that breastfeeding confers on the child. Let's talk about hygiene now, again, on the part of the mother. We know we talked about mask hygiene in the face of COVID-19.
Yes.
We equally know that some mothers...
And the social distancing.
Yes, yeah.
At least 2 meters.
Yeah,
and I'm sure I and you are more than 2 meters.
No, definitely, I can see that.
To survive.
Breast milk, one of the best gifts, one of the best things in life, one of the best gifts from nature. So we're encouraging mothers to practice breastfeeding, especially the one that want their children to grow up with high IQ. I've heard that. So,
especially if you want your child to be intelligent, with high IQ, this has been proven beyond any doubt. They are more intelligent, and we want to have future leaders very intelligent. So how can we change the situation? It has to start from the mother breastfeeding, with the support of the husband, with the support of the family. Mothers should be given an enabling environment to be able to continuously breastfeed their body. And this you can provide support by helping the mothers with other activities in the house to reduce the workload, so that she can frequently breastfeed that baby at will, at any time the baby desires more milk.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Salma. There should be no barriers to breastfeeding the child. Thank you so much for coming on Health Options.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Consuming too much refined or added sugar can raise blood pressure and increase chronic inflammation, both of which are pathological pathways to heart disease and other health conditions. More on this as we take you to our nature scanner.
The body requires sugar, and at the same time, when this sugar is not in the right form, and it is overconsumed. There's too much of it, just like any other thing. Too much of it is really bad. The simple sugar, which is known as carbohydrate, that is the form of which our body derives, energy. You would agree with me that we all need energy. The simple sugar, that is glucose, that's what goes into the body, and the body is able to produce energy that we use. However, if even this simple sugar, if it is consumed in too much amount, it has deleterious effects, that it has certain ill effects on the body. Take for example, yams, they're very high in carbohydrates. Rice, is also very high in carbohydrate. That is the complex form of sugar. Now, talking about simple sugar, which I said is glucose. So that's why people who are on a lot of yams, who eat a lot of yams, it finally gets broken down to simple sugar, which is glucose. The body really needs the sugar because we want to produce energy. However, there are bad effects of sugar if it comes into the body. Like sugar, number one, overconsumption of sugar has ill health benefits on our immune system. It also drives or overdrives, immune response. Overconsumption of sugar is what also makes us obese. It is actually tied to what we call metabolic syndrome. And when I talk about metabolic syndrome, you are referring to diseases like diabetes. So consumption of sugar is linked to development of diabetes. Overconsumption of sugar is also lead to hypertension, and it is also leads to obesity. Because precisely what is happening, if you take sugar more than what the body can handle, the excess sugar is stored in the liver as glycogen. Then when the body needs it, the glycogen gets broken down. But if the liver is overloaded with glycogen, then the liver loses its own functions. That leads to accumulation of this triglycerides, which we talk about cholesterol, good and bad, and this, then it becomes accumulated. One typical thing that you can see that accumulation of glycogen in the liver can lead to is a condition known as fatty liver degeneration. Then let's see, how does excess sugar in our body leads to diabetes? Diabetes is, for one, is as a result of inability of the body cells to utilize oxygen. If you take excess simple sugar like glucose, the insulin is overproduced in the pancreas. Once the insulin is overproduced in the pancreas, our cells are actually lined with what we call insulin receptors. Insulin also has the ability to initiate rapid development or division of cells. And let me link you here to cancer. Consumption of sugar can lead to cancer for two things. Cancer cells are what we call obligate metabolizers of glucose. That is to say that they depend mainly on glucose to feed. So when you take in too much sugar, then especially the processed sugar, the refined sugar, it leads to development of cancer, giving the cancer cells the food, and the overproduction of insulin, which makes the cancer cells that have a lot of insulin receptors to grow and multiply faster. Also, sugar has effect on inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of all diseases. This is what we've come to know these days. Prolonged or chronic inflammation is what leads to disease, any disease at all. Once there is an injury or foreign organism, a bacteria or virus in the body reacts, first starting with the white blood cells to come and kill that. But if it cannot kill this and that infection is going on over and over, then the inflammation becomes chronic. Think about obesity. We've also come to know that overconsumption of sugar leads to obesity. Fructose is the form of sugar that is found in fruits. So You can ask that why then, since sugar is in that form, should we be taking fruits because it contains sugar? Yeah, you should. Fruits are very much encouraged in the sense that fruits are not just only that fructose, but it contains a lot of fibers and then other nutrients, vitamins, and then minerals. Those fibers in turn have the benefit of what you call, they lower the hyperglycemic index. The fiber is able to lower the level of sugar. So there is a balance here. But the problem is where you take the refined sugar. Refined sugar is not just refined, but it has other chemicals added to it. Take for example, brown sugar that we get from sugar cane is not as bad as the white sugar, because the white sugar has been bleached and some chemicals have been added to it, and it is in the simple and easily absorptible form. The sugar that you get from sugar cane that we say it is good, it is because it is sucrose, which is the complex form of sugar. The body handles it in a slower form and it doesn't really absorb it. That's why white flour, white this, they are not really good for our ultimate health. But anything brown, anything colored, like anything red, or even fruits, those red ones, they have special pigments inside that the body needs. We know that the immune system is the defense system of the body. That's what we need. Some of these frizzy drinks that we take, they contain high amount of sugar that actually lowers what we call the leukocytic index. What is leukocytic index? That is the ability of the body, of the white blood cells, to actually defend the body. It lowers the leukocytic index from 9.6 to 1.6 for about over 6 hours. You can know what that will mean to your immune system. 9 grams of sugar is also capable of lowering our immune system by 50% over a period of 30 minutes. You know what that can mean to you. Having mentioned the deleterious effects of refined or white sugar, it is advisable that we resort to using the natural form of sugar, which comes easily with that of sugar cane. So we should be able to make use of molasses or browned sugar. Definitely this is not as bad as the white sugar. So in our homes, this is what we should actually promote. In the United States now, there is a movement against refined sugar because people are being educated on the deleterious effects of it. So people are now encouraged to use the natural form of sugar, and with us in this part of the world, the sugar cane is our best source of brown sugar that we can use to maintain our health. If you cannot just get the brown sugar because of the psychology attached to it, you can get your sugar cane, either you squeeze it or you can take it, and that is a very good replacement for your processed or refined sugar, which I very much advise you from indulging into too much of it. What then are the natural sources of sugar that we should resort to? Take, for example, we've already talked about sugar cane. That is really great. We should go for brown sugar that is actually processed and made from sugar cane. Then we should go for sugar that is actually in fruits, and that is the fructose. We should take sugar in that form.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Health Options. Remember that personal and collective survival begins with you taking personal responsibility to protect yourself and other people by observing the safety protocols against COVID-19. You can go to our YouTube channel to watch the upload of these and other episodes of the program. Email us for your comments and contributions at healthoptions@nta.gov.ng. My name is Rabi Abdullah. Let's stay safe. Hope to see you again. Bye-bye.